Hello, I am Adam Friedlander, a food safety specialist here at FMI, and welcome to the Future Leaders eXperience, which will take place June 11th through the 13th in Chicago. As you probably already know, FMI offers several different events each year designed to help you in the food retailing industry do your jobs better. This year's Future Leaders program, however, is different. In fact, it is so different, we have decided to provide those of you whose staff members will participate in this webinar with an inside look at how rewarding this year's program will be. We have all seen how swiftly business, society, and most specifically today, the food retailing industry have changed over the last few years. Many of the ways we have done business for decades are changing, and we are finding new opportunities and challenges every day to serve our customers and deliver the products and services they want. At what is sort of the point of spear for all of us, at the forefront of everything we do, are our people. The staff members we have carefully selected, mentored, and nurtured as they begin their careers and move up the ladder. You know who they are. You also know that the tasks you are asking them to perform, the challenges you are giving them, the goals you are asking them to meet have all changed. You have worked hard to build your team. And now, it's time to build them up. With this year's Future Leaders eXperience, we have taken a close look at what used to be called leadership or management training and begun with this event to create a new paradigm that will give our highest potential employees, our rising stars, the opportunity to step back from their daily routines for a few days and hone the skills that will be required of them as they assume leadership posts in their stores, their companies, and their industries. We have redesigned the traditional leadership growth experience to reflect today's workplace realities and recognize two important changes to the way we all do business today. First, we understand that in the future, it will be vital to understand that we work together as teams. There are no more lone wolves in management. There is no single individual in your leadership structure who has all of the answers. Reflecting those realities of the workplace today, the Future Leaders eXperience will take a new learning laboratory approach that will compel participants to work together as teams as they challenge assumptions and move out of their comfort zones, which is exactly what will be required of them as they take on responsibilities and opportunities of industry leaders in the 21st century. Second, as businesses mature in this fast-paced, consumer-driven industry, challenges must be met through teamwork and creative thinking in order for a manager to reach their fullest potential. That is why the two days participants spend at the Future Leaders eXperience will be divided into 4 themes, each of which will give them the tools they need to lead their teams in the future. The afternoon of the first day will be devoted to just what I've been talking about, team building. Each team will be made up of 8 members, all from different companies with different job titles. They will spend the next 2 days going through a series of exercises that will acquaint them with the tools they are going to need to take responsibility for the industry's future, to set new goals, develop roadmaps to achieve those goals, lead the way through their actions, and communicate a clear, understandable vision to their employees. On the first day, they will learn the importance of team building and extending connection to their future leaders team. On the morning of the second day, the theme will be peak performance. We want both ourselves and those we lead to perform at their fullest potential. Through a series of discussions and exercises, that is exactly what participants will do. Learn how to demonstrate peak performance, both in themselves and their teams. That afternoon, the experienced participants will take a deep dive into the latest industry trends. FMI President and CEO Leslie Saracen will introduce much of the research and analysis FMI has undertaken over the last year and give everyone a chance to step back and look at the industry as a whole. See where it's going, what its challenges are, and what they can do to help it get it to where we want it to be. Finally, on the last day, the theme will be storytelling. Leaders create those peak performances I just mentioned by communicating with their teams and with their companies. There are a few tricks to telling a good story about what you want to accomplish, and that's what the teams will work on together. I know I just said that the heart of the Future Leaders experience will be the teams working together, but that's not all that's happening. We have a slate of great keynoters who will gather with participants at intervals to deliver some of the most urgent content a future leader in food retailing will need to know. Gary Magenta is the author of The Unbossy Boss and 720 Haircuts. So with titles for books like that under his belt, you've got to figure he knows something about leadership and team building in a consumer-centric world. That will be his topic to kick off the conference. On day 2, Charles Duhigg, a New York Times reporter and author of the books The Power of Habit and Smarter, Faster, Better, will be there to provide a few secrets on how to be more productive in your work and to make your teams more productive as well. Leslie Saracen, as I already mentioned, will give participants a first-hand look at the 2017 U.S. Grocery Shopper Trends study that FMI completed this year. Attendees will learn what transparency and trust means to the consumer. On the final morning, Kendra Hall will talk about the irresistible power of strategic storytelling, and the Emmy Award-winning Steve Harvey will wrap up the Future Leaders experience with some solid advice on how to jump to the next level of success. This vital reimagining of the Future Leaders experience didn't exactly happen overnight. Months and, in some cases, years of thought have gone into the preparation for what will be a new way to develop leaders for an industry and workplace that are changing so rapidly. Dozens of industry professionals were involved in this, but none of it could have happened without the leadership of our two co-chairs, Valerie Oswalt and Joseph Sheridan. Valerie is the president of North American Sales for Mondelez International, one of the largest confectionery, food, and beverage companies. The sales efforts that she led generated more than $8 billion last year. Joseph, the president and COO of Wakefern Food Corporation, sits on both the FMI Board of Directors and its Executive Committee, as well as several other industry-related organizations. We think this high-level participation on behalf of both the retail and wholesale communities in this innovative learning lab approach demonstrates how important the industry believes the Future Leaders experience is. So, who should you be sending to the Future Leaders experience? It's your highest potential employees. It is those men and women who have already demonstrated their leadership skills in one way or another. It's the team members who you have already begun to imagine could take on significant managerial positions as their careers develop in the future. As we all know, leaders come from every corner of the industry. Look at some of the job titles here of individuals who will be participating. Everything from store manager to accounting director, from planner to assistant manager to floral director. Nobody has a monopoly on leadership skills, and every part of your business needs team leaders. The Future Leaders Experience will be held the week of June 11th in conjunction with several other FMI events to give food retailing executives the opportunity to make good use of their time as they meet with colleagues and get their own updates on what's going on in the industry. That also means those senior executives at your company will be able to spend some quality time as well with the rising stars they are sending to future leaders. Monday evening will be set aside so that senior executives can host their own company's participants, their own team members who are participating in the Future Leaders experience. It will be an opportunity for you to get together and meet those you are making an investment in by giving them the chance to participate. It will be a good time for you to share your own success stories with some of the most promising talent in your company, unwind a bit, and exchange all the aha moments everyone has to share. So what are the first few steps you need to take to prepare to send your team to the Future Leaders experience? First, we suggest you appoint a company lead, somebody whose task will be to coordinate with senior executives and make decisions about which staff members you believe are ready for the experience. Often, companies find the best person for this role is somebody in either their human resources or training departments. That company lead can also act as a liaison with FMI as you prepare for the event, including registration, housing, and logistics. We've already talked about the criteria for selecting future leader participants, your highest potential employees, those who have already demonstrated leadership skills and who you have already begun to imagine could take on significant managerial positions soon. Next, you want to review your group registration options. FMI has tried to make it as easy and economical as possible for your company to benefit from the Future Leaders experience. For instance, if your company is a retailer or wholesaler member of FMI and you bring at least 10 staff members, the registration fee is $645 per person, a savings of $250 each. If your company is an associate member and you bring 10 or more staff members, the registration fee is $995 per person, a savings of $400 each. And even if your company is not yet an FMI member and you bring 10 or more staff members, the registration fee is $1,095 per person, a savings of $600 each. Then you'll want to think about your hotel needs, and for that, you can go to the Future Leaders website to make your reservations. Finally, you'll want to inform your rising stars and help them make room in their schedules to be out of the office or store for a few days. As you can see from this slide, several major industry leaders have already registered people for the 2017 Future Leaders experience. But don't worry, there's still room for your rising stars as well. To go a little deeper now into what exactly experienced participants will do, here is the schedule of events, which you can also look closely at when you go to the Future Leaders website. Participants will travel to Chicago on Sunday morning and meet after lunch at the McCormick Place. The focus that first day will be on meeting and getting acquainted with the other members of a team that they will spend much of the next 2.5 days with. Teams will form, learn what their roles will be, and work their way through an exercise that will help them get acquainted, but also target the first element of the new leadership paradigm, the customer-centric culture. As the afternoon unfolds, teams will discover how to empower themselves and learn how to apply the tools they need to lead, inspire, and coach their teams to deliver results. They'll wrap up the day with an evening at Lucky Strike, but I'll get back to that in a moment. The following morning, the focus will shift from getting acquainted to using the tools that will lead future leaders to demonstrate peak performance, both in themselves and in their teams. Presentations and team activities throughout the morning will guide participants in how to bring the strongest parts of themselves to their work's most challenging situations. At the same time they're working on honing those skills, they'll also learn something about building the kind of personal power that is required to form a strategic mindset and recognize the achievements of fellow workers and customers. As I mentioned earlier, Monday afternoon we'll start off with Leslie Saracen giving participants an update on FMI's U.S. Grocery Shopper Trends report. FMI has tracked consumer shopping habits for 4 decades now. This year, it has supplemented all that information with additional research that views the shopper through a cultural lens, interviewing them both in their homes and while shopping. Experts will then join Leslie as they present the most significant expected trends in 2017 and what they mean to participants and their companies. With their teams, participants will work their way through a series of exercises designed to help them convert that information into strategies they can communicate to their own teams, and then execute in a way that keeps them all ahead of the business and ahead of the consumer. On the morning of the last day of the Future Leaders Experience, everything that participants have learned about team building, peak performance, and industry trends will culminate into exploring how to tell that story. Participants will dig into the art of storytelling and examine how they can best frame their experience, knowledge, and brand to articulate it to others. Before heading home, they will go through one last series of team activities as they discover how to tell their company's and industry story, and then their own. To close the morning, they will join FMI leaders in a final wrap-up session that focuses on the next steps to be taken in their careers. As I briefly mentioned before, it's not all work. In fact, to dovetail with the team building exercises, participants will go through on Sunday afternoon to get to know their teammates. There will be an opportunity to meet and network with everybody involved with the Future Leaders Experience at Lucky Strike, an upscale bowling alley that is also one of Chicago's most popular night spots. There will be a full evening of food, games, and networking with the new teammates and new friends. And if bowling isn't your game, there will be billiards, ping pong, and there will be plenty of room to spread out and talk. Also, as a special treat after lunch on Monday, experienced participants will have a rare opportunity to meet and rub shoulders with some of the most outstanding leaders in the food retailing industry today. The FMI Store Manager Award recipients will be announced and introduced. The annual Store Manager Awards goes to the men and women who generate significant sales growth, effectively communicate company goals and objectives to their teams. They provide leadership and exceptional customer service and work to build strong connections to their communities. We are excited to celebrate our industry's peak performers. FMI is committed to the education of the industry's leaders, and the Future Leaders Experience is a key component of that commitment. We know that a well-rounded leader should understand not only their store and community, but the entire industry and marketplace. At the same time, FMI is committed to assuring that your company's own leadership and training programs are not duplicated as you also foster leadership in your own organization. That is why we have put so much emphasis this year on team building in this learning laboratory atmosphere. More than 40 organizations have already committed to participate this year, and we expect an attendance of close to 500 of the industry's fastest rising stars. So get your group registered today. FMI would like to thank all the members of the Future Leaders Experience Planning Committee who worked so hard to put this innovative program together. We hope you'll join us. Thank you.